I think it's so important to have something that lights you up in your life. So if acting is what lights you up, act. Put on plays in your backyard, not because you want to get a TV show, but because it brings you so much joy. Find what it is for you.
Have you been looking for expanders who are doing their very unique gifts, passion, essence, but through the lens of their authentic self? Today, we have on very talented actress Beth Behrs to describe how she is connecting to her authenticity even deeper in this season of life, both with her career, with her family, with manifesting her home, and how the TBM tools have been so instrumental for her. This is quite an expansive one, especially for anyone who is in an industry or field that is changing. How do you show up authentically when you have so much input that things need to look a certain way or be a certain way, or that the industry can only function in one way? How can you expand past that, see the potential, and still bring your essence, your authenticity, your gifts to the table? We are in the depths of our Return to Magic 15-day manifestation challenge right now. We just went through phases 1 and 2, trust and safety, autonomy and boundaries, and now we're moving into phases 3 and 4, creativity and play, and competence and confidence. I have to say that this is probably the most powerful challenge I have ever done with TBM, just even as a consumer, because this is completely rewiring my nervous system to safety. It is grounding me back into myself. I'm reconnecting with my magic, with my play, with the things that really matter. And there's honestly no better time to be doing this type of work than before the new year, before you want to craft your list and set your New Year's intentions and all of those things. Get down to what actually deeply matters in your soul and manifest from that place. I think there's going to be so much change and upheaval, and systems are going to crumble in the way in which we know them, and the workforce is going to crumble in the way in which we know it. And that's not at all to scare anyone. It's just to get your mind prepared that things may change. But the one constant is our authentic self, is our gifts, is our joy, is our magic. We have that within us. No one can take that. We can connect with it at any time. And this challenge for me, at least, is this full immersion back to this part of self that I really haven't spent enough time honoring and connecting to. And surprisingly enough, or maybe not surprisingly, that inner child part has the keys, has my magic, has my authenticity, has how I want to ground and how I want to play, and the things that nourish me and the things that prevent me from burning out or giving too much or not having boundaries in certain areas. Like, it actually has all the keys. And so I just invite any of you, if you get the ping, to join us. Please join us. If you check out my Instagram broadcast channel, the most amazing manifestations are coming through to people. The most clarity, the most profound, deep healing is happening. This is a big one, guys. I'm really excited for you just going through this. I know it has been so insanely potent for me, and I can't wait to see what lays on the other side. But even before we're on the other side, as I'm in it, I'm just so grateful to have these tools to lean on, especially during this time, and just so euphoric that I have this thread back to me in this season. So if you feel the ping, if you're getting the calling, please join us. We have our biggest sale going on right now, 30% off our membership. So you can join, you can have a full year of TBM at that discounted rate. Join the challenge. It will be open into the new year, so you can start anytime. It's not too late. And I truly cannot wait to see you guys in there. This is where the magic happens. Okay, let's get into the episode. And now a word from our partners. I don't know about you, but maybe it's because we're getting into the chillier months, or maybe it's just that time of year where there's so much going on, but I have been craving stillness. gentle ritual, slow practices that bring me back into the present. That's why when I heard Anima Mundi was launching a set of ritual candles, I could not be more excited. They are launching 5 signature candles to start, each handcrafted, organic beeswax and pure soy, all natural dyes, toxin-free, sustainably sourced, and all vibrant colors with spellbinding energy designed to elevate your altar or ritual space. Each one crafted with a different intention, one for creativity, self-love, intuition, protection, and prosperity. And each one is covered in a special blend of herbs and flowers to enhance each of the themes. Things like mugwort, lavender, blue lotus, hibiscus, rose petals, or lemon balm. I cannot wait to pair these with my TBM practice. So as we kick off and head into the book club and the end of year challenge, every time I go to do my TBM work each week, I am lighting one of these candles, setting an intention, and knowing that I am calling in and manifesting with this towards my highest good. It feels like the best way to just set the energy, the intention of the space before I dive into all of this healing work and all of this alchemy work that we're going to jump into this season with TBM. You can even set the candle before you have a journaling session or you're going to do some big creative project. Or if you're tapping in more to your psychic or intuitive gifts, light the candle as that intention, that North Star, that guiding light to be in the space with you. If you are getting the ping to create more of an altar or a ritual for yourself to slow down this season, I highly recommend checking out the ritual candles. You can go to animamundieherbals.com and use the code TBM, all caps 20, for 20% off your purchase. Again, that is TBM20, all caps, for 20% off your purchase, or check out the link in the show notes. And now, onto the episode. Well, Beth Behrs, so welcome back on the Expanded podcast. We're so excited to have you.
Oh my God, Jessica, it's been a while. I feel like I already know you though, because I've listened so many years to this podcast and I'm like, I already know Jess. Jess and I are on a Jess basis. We're good.
First name basis. We got this.
Yeah, I know. I did it. What was I, like your 3rd episode, I think, or something?
Yeah. It's really cool, the evolution. And I remember being like literally shocked when you were on the podcast, because I have watched shows that you've been in. I've watched your work and I was like, wait, this is so cool to see the person behind the characters. This is fascinating, like blowing my small suburban Jersey town brain of everything, and just seeing the woman, the person that you've become and how authentically you share, and just watching your life transform through motherhood and then connecting with animals and the land and your home. There's just such a rootedness and so much of everything that you put out there and connect with everyone on. So it's been really beautiful to watch your journey as well.
Well, that's thanks to this work. I mean, honestly, I started it. I mean, thank you for saying all that. That's very kind. I feel the same way about you. I'm like, I think that's why I feel like I already know you, is because there's such a beautiful authenticity and groundedness. And I'm like, oh, she got her house, her dream house. I'm like rooting for you behind the scenes. But I do credit, I mean, Lacey had a blog called Free and Native, probably right when Instagram started. I assume that's when we connected over. I don't even know. And I was telling you before we even were recording that I was so into this work in the beginning and no one really knew about it. So I invited all my girlfriends over to my house. I think we had like 12 women, and Lacey came we sat in a circle in my living room, and we each talked about our manifestation process, what we wanted to manifest. And Lacey would sit and talk to each of us. It was so cool. So we've come a long way, me and Lacey, and we're mothers now. And yeah, I credit this work to really finding out authentically who I am, dealing with the constant repetition of the programming and learning how to break that cycle from childhood, and then using it still day to day today, truly.
One of the things that we were talking about before we started recording was how when you're doing the work for a while, you're relationship to it shifts over time. What your authentic code looks like, what your list looks like, how you go about tackling the work when you use it. How has that transformed for you as someone who has been using these tools for over a decade?
When I first started, so when I really dove in, like the time in my life where TBM, I was doing it every single day, was the transition between my show Two Broke Girls onto the neighborhood. The neighborhood was everything on my list of what I wanted in my next acting job. But what's changed is my lists were 3 pages long. I had such specificity in my list. And I was telling you, my human design is generator. And I am one who is a specific, not a non-specific. So I was like, oh, I'm supposed to write these long lists. But that was in my 20s. And now I'm about to be 40. And my list now is so simple. I have one expander. I had pages of lists of expanders for different things. And it's just simplicity is like literally simplicity and surrender are my 2 words for the way I'm moving forward in this work now.
So what is the one word or one thing you're manifesting right now?
My one actual manifest thing on my list is an acting job that utilizes the depth of my talent without compromising my life with my family. That's just because I'm in this massive transition. I've been on network television for almost 16 years. We're going into our 8th season on the neighborhood. I was on Two Broke Girls for 6.
Wow.
Crazy. I'm so lucky. And so this is like a massive transition for me of what's next. And I wasn't a mother before. Now I am. And so much shoots all over the world. It's not in Los Angeles. And what does that look like? And so that is my pared down one objective. But I wrote, my expander is Olivia Colman. She started on sitcom. She's my one expander because I think she does a beautiful job. And she's talked about it of having this super rich creative life and living in the countryside and raising her 3 children and being a mother. And so I'm like, I don't really need another expander. That's it for me. I see myself in her trajectory. She didn't get broad church till her 40s. There's like a lot of parallels that I can like see in myself. She's not going to the Met Gala. No shade at the Met Gala or things, but I've just never authentically felt like the girl who's going to be like on the cover of Vogue in Chanel. That's just, I'm a cowgirl. So, but I did write a little like, and I don't know if this is helpful to people, but I wrote like a little Dear Me that I read every day.
I love this. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. All right. Do you want me to read it?
Yes.
To you?
Yes. Give us all of it.
Okay. So, Dear Me, this isn't about becoming Olivia Colman. It's about becoming the artist I was born to be. One who listens, who breathes, who knows when to be still. I've spent years learning to be seen, but this season is about learning to be felt. I'm stepping into a new rhythm, one that's slower, wiser, funnier, and braver. A life that unfolds between barn mornings and bright lit stages, between laughter and silence, between the public and the sacred private. I trust that my magnetism comes from my truth. I no longer chase, I attract. I no longer perform, I embody. That's my
Gosh, I'm obsessed.
Because I was like, I have to read something every morning that's not just like, I want an acting job that does that. I have to like, I feel like for me, and you can, I'm sure, speak to this even more deeply than me, but in my process, I have to feel what I want to manifest, if that makes sense. Like viscerally, it has to be somatic. I don't know. I need something that's poetic, something that makes me feel as opposed to just like looking at my written list.
That makes so much sense. And I think that's why there's 2 DIs that I go back to time and time again is our Dream Life DI. And this summer we launched the Abundant Life DI. And I think I get drawn to them so much because you can swim in the energy and the essence of total freedom, authenticity, magnetism, like living in flow with life. And you get to kind of daydream in that space. And there's something about, and not in a spiritual bypass way, like, okay, just meditate in the frequency, but it's almost like a connection to your future self in that moment where it feels like your future self is like showing you a glimpse of the feeling, the sensation. And it's not always the exact picture of everything, but it's more so like, wow, I feel so at peace. Sometimes that peace feeling is swinging on a hammock watching the sunset. Sometimes that peace feeling is creating a video or something, but it's really that emotional resonance that connects you to it. And I think part of the neuroplasticity of it all is when you have that anchor, that rootedness of what that positive emotion feels like when you face the tests, when you face the triggers, when you're like, oh, what is this all about? You have an emotional touch point of like this, but this is what I'm getting to. And if I'm not there yet, I know that there's still more to go. I like have to put boundaries up or say no, but it's like you're chasing that connection deeper.
And I think too, when you're in those DIs and you've practiced feeling it or let your body feel it, then when tests do come up, you're able to like go back in a little bit quicker than maybe if you hadn't been doing it. Even if, you're not on that hammock yet on the lake or whatever, you're able to feel it. And so it's hard because I would say if you interviewed me again and I was my 27-year-old self, I would have given you such specifics, such a long list. I want my house to be this. I think that also comes, we were talking with being a mother and being almost 40, and I had such drive and hunger in my 20s. And it's not that I've lost that, but I have to learn surrender. In my 20s, I was mostly chasing out of deep down feeling not enough. I've not felt enough my whole life. It's funny, EMDR, I know you guys have talked about this, so a lot of TBM listeners probably do it as well, but it has changed my life because I just had it like a couple weeks ago, and there's this feeling one time in middle school, like it's so stupid, but see something stupid that happened to you when you're a kid, and then it makes me like feel silly telling you this, but there was like this moment in middle school where these girls excluded me from something called the Cool Kids Club. And
I mean, even that in and of itself, the Cool Kids Club.
I know, it's like I laugh now, but when you're in like 6th grade, it's like, and I just, I cried in the bathroom and they wouldn't allow me to sit with them at lunch or talk to them at school or whatever, right? So anywho, I've always also felt in Hollywood like I've been excluded from the Cool Kids Club. And I know that's so probably a lot of actors who are listening, maybe who want to be, are like, what are you talking about? You've been on TV for like so many years. But I just do. I've never felt enough. Like I just don't feel, I'm not on the Bear winning an Emmy, but I'm doing what I authentically feel like I was meant to do, which is like be a goofball and make people laugh falling down the stairs, like that's who I am. But we did EMDR around that one experience of the cool kids, bullying or whatever. And that feeling of like how it came up in my 20s on Two Broke Girls. And one of the things was like, I tried so hard to be like in that fashion world because I thought I was supposed to, because, it kind of blew up overnight. And that's what all the other girls who were on TV were doing. And it just, honestly, I felt like stylists were like, oh, this girl has I didn't. I wore soccer shorts and cowboy boots like my whole life. It's just, although you did like my shirt today, which makes me happy. But
I love your shirt today.
but I just like, that was just, I'd rather be playing around with a horse on the set on the lot than like thinking about trying to get Vogue to like feature me in a magazine. But in my 20s, I would have put that on my list and chased it and wanted to be it because I felt like in order to feel enough, that was something I needed to manifest. And I would have told you back then that I felt that was authentic to who I was. And now, it's only now looking back that I can be like, God, I should have just leaned into cowboy boots back in the day. Like I should have just, owned who I was. Because there were lots of red carpets and lots of things that like I just was so uncomfortable and so not authentically myself. But that's also, I feel like a lot of us would look back now in our 20s. Anyone who's an actress, I feel like would say the same thing. But
100%. I'm so curious too. I think that is so true for so many people, learning who their authentic self is. And I don't know if you've had this experience, but I feel like in my 20s, there was so much questioning of who am I? Like someone give me the roadmap. I don't know. It genuinely was frustrating because I was like, I just want someone to tell me like fit in this box, dress like this, be like this. I don't know. I'm confused. And then it wasn't until I stopped looking for everyone else to like show me that I started listening. I mean, it really wasn't until I started really doing this work at like 26, 27, 28, where I was like, okay, well, what am I actually interested in? What was I interested in as a kid? What do I do when no one's watching? Like, what do I look up online? Those became the hints, the clues to my authentic self. And then now in my 30s, it's so clear. It couldn't be more clear, but it took that permission to disconnect from the shoulds in order to find it.
That's the perfect way of saying it, disconnecting from the shoulds. And I think it's a tricky balance too, right? And even as women, I feel like and I'm a Capricorn. Are you a Capricorn? I feel like you are. Yeah. Okay. We probably relate on this, that we've always been pretty ambitious go-getters. It almost feels lazy to me to try to surrender to something bigger than myself, higher power, whatever you want to call it, because I think there's a really fine line for people in their 20s, 30s, 60s, whatever. You have to do this work to get clear on your authentic code, and what you want from a place of authenticity is number one, right? We're not doing it because we want a house in Malibu to show everybody that I'm enough now. It's because I love the ocean and I want to wake up to the smell of the ocean, or whatever so you're getting clear on that. But then you have to take action. You can't step back. I love Dr. Tara's work for that reason, that, she's very much about, and your work, there's very much like action steps. However, at some point, and I'm finding this a lot more in my late 30s than I ever did before, I have to let go and trust. And I think for a Capricorn, the trusting has been my deepest issue. And the EMDR, that not enough thing is constant still. Even I've done the work, even with EMDR, but I think it's just being aware of it and showing up to keep doing the work is maybe the way that there will be more trust, because you're still unblocking. Even if my list is simple and I pretty badass know my authentic code, know who I am, it's still showing up. You still have to show up in different ways maybe than you did. I mean, after Two Broke Girls, I was doing TBM work every day. And now, I'll drop into a DI when I need to, or I'll go to therapy every week and do EMDR. And I feel like that's they go really well hand in hand, this work and therapy.
Oh, yes. I mean, you can see the pattern so clearly, and then you can take that in deeper.
Absolutely.
Younger you manifested this incredible opportunity at Two Broke Girls, and then you manifested this also long-term opportunity with the neighborhood. What versions of you were calling in those things? What part of you needed that experience? Like, what lessons did you get in each experience? And then how did that evolve to the next one up? Because I'm thinking for people, like, it's also very rare to get booked on 2 mega shows. So there was clearly strong alignment, self-worth on a baseline level, but then there was some other healing patterns that you were navigating with each of the shows.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Two Broke Girls. So, just to let the audience know, there is not a time. My mom said at 3 years old, I watched The Sound of Music and was asking her to be an actor. So in some ways, I feel like I never knew anything else that I wanted to do. The acting thing, I've never questioned. I went to college for it. I went to UCLA. I'm Capricorn. I was calling agents at 14, 15 years old in LA. One of them, so there's an actress named Kristen Chenoweth, and I had written her agent a letter at 14, put it in a manila envelope and sent it to her. And I guess I said on the thing, I'm the next Kristen Chenoweth or something like that, mailed it to her, and she agreed to take a meeting with me. So my mom, I flew to LA by myself on a weekday to take this meeting. And years later, when I got to Brooklyn, she told me, she was like, I just had never met a girl who had the balls at that young age to be like, I'm this and you need to meet with me. Wow. Which then once I got to Broke Girls, all that confidence went out the window, which is so interesting because you would think that child, I did have a lot of acting confidence pre Two Broke Girls. And then I got it. And I have to credit my co-star on that, Kat Dennings, because without her, she had been in the business for so long. It was instant chemistry, instant friendship. I got so lucky. Both shows, I've gotten so lucky with the people that I've worked with. But I was like, I mean, it wasn't overnight success, but it was as close as probably you can get to like, I mean, I was working 7 days a week. I was a nanny during the week. And then on the weekends, I was doing double bartending shifts at a theater called the Geffen. And I went literally one night from that to doing the pilot of Two Broke Girls. I had done little guest stars and things here and there, but like, I mean, it literally was almost as overnight as you can get. And I started having panic attacks. I mean, I've always been an anxious person, but the struggle of Two Broke Girls was the immense amount of pressure on two young women at that time when, remember, Netflix was still DVDs. I mean, Two Broke Girls came at a time when 20 million people were tuning in. It was such a different, and I went from like college girl to like, I have to like on a network show, I have to like lead the show with, and so I credit Kat to like really holding my hand through. And she's also like me, like we wore sweatpants, like we love to read cozy books like Little Women. Like, you know what I mean? We were just very similar in who we were off camera. Our characters could not be more different on camera. So it was interesting because I feel like I lost a lot of confidence during the years of Two Broke Girls, as opposed to what I had as a child and as a young woman. And then also I learned it was like going to graduate school for comedy. I did work that I'm so proud of on that show. And I worked my ass off. I mean, girl, I did not get a period for 6 years because it was like being like an Olympic athlete, or my doctor said. Crazy. And the hours and everything. So it was like my 20s was like, it was my grad school. That was my grad school. But I definitely wouldn't tell you I was the confident child that I had been about acting. Acting changed for me. It became a really high pressure job. And it was due to panic attacks that I found horses during that run, because I would notice when the horse was on set, I was like so much happier and I would feel so calm. And so the horses kind of became my passion outside of acting. And then when acting became my job, that was really where I found that grounded, rootedness in myself and my authenticity away from Hollywood. So that was honestly thanks to Two Broke Girls, because my character had a horse and I probably never would have experienced equine therapy, or now I have 3 horses. So yeah, I wouldn't have done that. And then on my manifest list for the neighborhood, I just remember calling in, I wanted this feeling of growing up and doing theater. I did community theater, I did professional theater, of like a troupe and like that theater kid mentality. I couldn't find my real list, but I know that it was about having sort of that theater kid feeling again. And 2 of the actors on the show I had seen in plays the year before I got the neighborhood. Like it was like they were in 2 plays at the Geffen and 1 in New York. And it was like, oh my God, these are my people. When I saw who was cast and when they were asking me to do the show, I was like, oh my God, I just saw him in the Geffen, Marcel Spears. He was incredible. He's a theater guy. And I wanted something less taxing on my body and my life. That was on my list. And it was a big ensemble. It wasn't the Two Broke Girls. It was like a whole neighborhood. Like there were 2 families. And yeah, it was everything I wanted to call in my next job. And I wanted a job that I could like get married and have kids on, and it would be, and I did. Like it was all.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so interesting too, because, okay, so like for anyone listening, thinking about this, I'm also thinking about people who have kids and are parenting. The probably encouragement you got from your mom or your dad or your parents around this acting to give you that baseline confidence that like, write a letter, like send the letter, we'll go to the meeting. Like it sounds like you were instilled that this is possible. I can do this. Of course, I'm going to do this, whatever. So also listening to your kids' pangs and interests and not being like, that's ridiculous. Like it's really hard for you out there, not feeding them with that fear and limitation, and just seeing like plant the seed, not to push them in any one direction, but plant the seed. And if it comes up, I think that did you an immense amount of subconscious self-worth in that department. But then it's interesting hearing the intensity of the production was almost the thing that was like, oh my God, I need to get my footing here because this isn't play anymore. This is like a real
There's multi-millions of dollars. This is not the backyard theater troupe doing Cinderella. And it changes. And I talk a lot about that with a lot of my girlfriends who are artists, vocation versus passion, and how you sort of remedy when something becomes something that you monetize, even if it's your heart and soul. You know, you're living what you're supposed to be doing on this earth, but it changes from just doing it for the love of it and doing it because it's your career. Like, it's how you make money. And so I think that was, for me, it was about finding, because acting had always been that. I mean, I didn't go out in high school. I missed so much of high school because I was a singer too. And I would like, so nerdy, but like I would do my vocal warm-ups in the morning and then go to these like vocal workshops on the weekends. And so like, I missed a lot of it because I was so committed. That was my whole passion in my life. And then once I actually got my dreams, it shifted a bit.
I've been thinking a lot about how small rituals really change how we feel in our skin. And lately, the one that I've been looking forward to the most is right after my shower, lathering on Osea's Andaria body oil and body butter. It's not just skincare, it's this grounding moment where I can have appreciation for all the parts of my body, for being in my skin, for how much it supports me on a day-to-day basis. And it leaves my skin silky, sculpted, and glowing. I am also big on really clean, natural scents, and this has a bright grapefruit, lime, almost mandarin notes in it that just feels so soothing as if you're at a spa. It is clinically shown to improve skin's elasticity, moisture, leaving your skin more visibly firmer, smoother, and more supple. It's super lightweight, silky, fast absorbing, and really transforms my dull, dry skin into something so supple and soft without being heavy or greasy. Not to mention their skincare is clean, vegan, cruelty-free, and climate label certified. There is truly nothing better than having hydrated, smooth, soft, and glowing skin, especially as it starts to get into the chillier months. I have also been obsessed with their Dream Night Cream. It has been my go-to to keep my face moisturized as well. Get healthy, glowing skin for fall with clean, vegan skin and body care from Osea. Get 10% off your first order with code MAGNETIC10, that's all caps MAGNETIC 10 at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping over orders of $50. Head to OseaMalibu.com and use code MAGNETIC10 for 10% off. And now I'm like, okay, the Capricorn, the high achiever, the pressure to perform in that space, and the fact that you're like the struggle for the surrender. I'm like, okay, this is a high achiever, probably perfectionist, likes control. Where do you feel like that aspect comes from? I only recognize it because I have that as well.
I mean, I genuinely do think it all stems from deep down feeling not enough in some way. And so we're constantly chasing as opposed to letting things come. Chasing versus attracting. And I was a people pleaser. I'm not recovered in that. I'm still terrified to even, we had parent teacher conference this morning and I'm like trying to make sure that like the teachers know I'm like, I'll do whatever we need to make Emma that, it's just like, I can't, I'm still working on that piece of myself, but I do think it's hindered me though in the joy a lot of acting in some ways. And I wish I could go back to my 20-year-old self because now I'll watch episodes of Two Broke Girls and see some of the physical comedy and stuff Kat and I did. And I long to go back. It was so much fun in front of that big live audience. And and I wish I had not been so incredibly focused on being perfect. I wish I had just let go and had fun. Because on The Neighborhood, as I got older, I was able to let go and have more fun. And now moving forward, like after The Neighborhood, I've been doing it for so long that I have just sort of, honestly, a little bit like the confidence I had in childhood came back in a way because why do I feel that way now? I don't know, experience and time and aging. Self-expansion. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine your volume of reps at it are so high at this point that you're like, it would be unreasonable for me to doubt my abilities in my acting at this point,
I mean, we'll see. I've also been so on the same show for 8 years. So like, obviously it's going to be new to like, I mean, the last audition I had was a very high stress audition in person for the Wicked movie, which I literally was like my dream too. I would have loved, but Ariana Grande killed it. But like, yeah, it's even been a while since I've had time to be up for like new things. So it'll be interesting to see if this like confidence I feel right now transfers. I might be doing a lot of DIs before auditions in the next
A
couple
lot of
of
self-expansion, just be like, I
yeah.
did this before, I can do
I
this.
think I still know how to do this. I can do this. Yeah. Because you're right. It is the hours. If you're doing it all day, right? It's a 10,000 hours thing, right? It's like now I've surpassed that. So yeah, television is pretty, I think I got it.
It's so interesting because we're crafting the end of your challenge. It's going to be about inner child stages
Oh,
and
awesome.
going through each of them, not the heavy lifting, but full nurturance. What did I
Oh, I
need
love that.
here? Like somatically, what did I need? You know, did I need more physical touch? Did I need more eye contact? Did I need more comfort? Did I need to be told XYZ? Like just giving your inner child everything. And then doing IRL practices for each phase. So for the infancy phase, build a pillow fort and cocoon under your blankets, take a womb bath, stuff like that. So in doing that, you're reclaiming an authentic aspect of your inner child that you haven't let integrate. And so my theory is right now, because I think so many people are just craving the magic, the play, the surrender, the trust, the ease. It feels very heightened right now. People are wanting to put their holiday decorations out early, like there's just so much of this joy that we're craving. And I think part of it is at some point we learned to disconnect from it because we learned we couldn't do that to be an adult. We couldn't do that to be safe. We couldn't get our needs met if that part was there. But I think in order to navigate and metabolize everything going on in the world, we have to bring those dormant archetypes back up. We have to bring back the play. We have to bring back the joy. Like that will be our medicine through. And so I'm so curious how this is going to play out for you into this next role. And just, I'm like, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to be on that next set whenever that next role manifests. And you're like, I feel like I'm playing again, full stop. It's like, oh, of course, that happened to that happened to that happened to, yes, there we go. Like I can just see it in that trajectory.
That's so interesting you said that about the joy and the inner child and all of that, because I do feel like there's this collective feeling of wanting to like color or go back to play. Like everyone in my life is feeling that. And even the like going back to like getting off our phones, and like my girlfriends have been playing mahjong. Like we
Yes.
all
Oh, I
learned
love
and like mostly because it's like an excuse on a Sunday afternoon to be off our phones and play a game together and talk. We can talk through it. But there does seem to be this sort of like back to games, back to we want our Christmas decoration, the joy. And I think that has a lot to do with also like from COVID to like there's just been a lot that we've all been through as a collective society recently. But giving ourselves permission, when you said that about being on set and I hope you can find the joy, my thought was, I hope I can let go enough. Because in order to find that joy, and by the way, that's what my expander, Olivia Colman, she is visceral. You never see her trying to work at it. Like she is fully joyful living in the moment in every role, whether it's comedy, whether it's drama, whether it's TV, whether it's fun. Like, so it's interesting because as you said that, I was like, that's exactly what she does. That's what I'm drawn to is there's this sense of play in her. Even if it's a really serious, there's an ease to it. And in order to do that, you really do have to believe that you're enough, because that is like how you can let go and trust. No matter what you're doing, letting go and trusting yourself. Isn't that what we're all doing this work to try to get to at the end of the day?
It's the scariest thing because, especially if you identify with someone who likes to control things or likes to handle things or feels like the good student or feels like I can work with this, there is a safety and protection shell that is built up so strong that letting go feels like death. It feels like I will not survive if I don't make sure all the things go out on time and this isn't handled in this way. Like nothing will function if I don't do that. And for anyone else out there who maybe they don't identify with this exact example, think about what their version of that is. Like, what's your version of control where it's like, oh, if I do that, it feels like death. It feels like I'm giving up a part of myself. It's your exact medicine. Of course, you're going to be humbled by the universe with immense need to surrender when the whole scaffolding has been the opposite. It's divine and a cosmic laugh that is not so fun all the time.
And I think it also too, like once you're really in tune with that authenticity, that whole, I feel like it's so much pressure when people say like, what's your purpose? Like, what are you meant to do on this earth? I'm like, dear God, calm down. Okay. First of all, like just being like a mother of a child or an active part of your community, that's good enough. That's a good purpose. Like
100%.
I hate that. And I feel like it's with social media. Do you feel like it's been more in your face to feel like you have to like figure out what your life purpose is? Or maybe that's just my algorithm, but I've been thinking about that recently and I'm like, I am all for striving for whatever you want to be in this life or do, but it's also like, sometimes I think that makes us forget that like life is also these ordinary little moments of joy hits or of things that come together. Yes, do I believe that like making people laugh is probably why I'm here and like that helps people during hard times and like that's how I'm going to serve and is that in some way my purpose? Yes, but also like my purpose is to like support my child to find her joy. Like what you were saying about like what my parents do, or, and my purpose is to like, I have a neighbor who's sick and I'm going to go like make cookies tonight and like, or whatever, I don't know. I just also feel like sometimes we're getting inundated with these messages that make us forget that like the ordinary can be holy. And to make the ordinary holy just grows your joy you can get when those bigger manifestations or whatever you want to call it come through, or bigger life things, because you're able to live day to day from a place of that joy and not wait because you're not living your purpose yet.
I love that you brought this up. This is something we actually talked about on tour of like redefining purpose. Purpose is so this like you're stamped with this. This is your contribution and that's it. And it's fixed and you find it or you don't. And what does that mean? It kind of feels scary.
Yeah, it's so overwhelming. And I feel like we get fed it a lot. Like we'll find your purpose.
Yeah, like, find your purpose.
No
and so much it's connected to career or success or achievement.
And money, huge piece of it. Yep.
And I think if we can reframe purpose to be how we express our authenticity from moment to moment in this season and then redefine it per season, we'll feel a lot more fulfilled and a lot more connected. Because the thing that purpose does give us is that feeling that, and in going through the inner child stages, I think it's the preschool phase is when they start to adopt this sense that, oh, when I do this, it has a positive impact on this, or my showing up, my contribution means something. And that feels important and dutiful, and not in a place of like, you have to do this, but more like, wow, I feel connected to others when I make this contribution. And so I think making purpose this like singular thing that we do is very minimizing to all the gifts that people have, all the authentic expressions. And so if we can kind of reframe purpose to be like, there's some way of expressing our energy, our essence, our authenticity on a day-to-day basis in the little moments. And if we can get clear on that, that is the energy that is having you make cookies for your neighbor. That is the energy that is having you connect with your child and parent. That is the energy that's going to set and is like, okay, cool. Like, what are we doing today? That is all purpose. And so I think if people can get clear on, wow, when I'm expressing authentically, like I am dancing with that purpose, that is, I think, way better of a thing to strive for than just a fixed title.
And I've always loved, especially as an overachiever, and to all the overachievers out there, listen to Jessica and Lacey when they tell you on the how to manifest the 6 to 9 months, because it's especially like, I remember before Two Broke, because I was like sharing a 1 bedroom and apartment with a friend, and like, I had no money, and I had $10,000 written on a dollar bill because I had read like The Secret or something where it said like, write on it what you want or whatever. But I feel like that's always something I've really loved that helps my overachiever self in your work calm down and get more joyful in those moments and pieces, is that feeling of like, what is realistic in 6 months that I can work towards day to day? That's pieces. Even if it's like, I mean, I think you guys still call them like fragment expanders and things where you're finding. Lacey's always been super helpful for me, especially with like when I had wanted to manifest a house and it didn't happen for 4 years. And it was constant little fragment things but the 6 to 9 months thing, I'd be like, okay, I just want to pick a neighborhood. I want to find authentically the neighborhood. I might not have the money yet. I might not, but like at least I can start getting, but it's the little micro things that then it might take time, but then does lead to the big things. And if you can find that joy that you were saying in those 6 to 9 month goals too, then when you do manifest in a year or whatever your biggest goals, it's so you haven't missed. The process is rich and joyful, and you haven't missed anything.
If you are walking into this season feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, exhausted, tested, triggered in love, money, career, relationships, all of the things, or maybe just searching for clarity, you are not alone. It has been a massive year of endings, ego deaths, and transformation cycles. And when that happens, it's always your inner child, your safety, your self-worth, your nervous system that takes the hit. Most people don't realize this, but your inner child is actually the one who is quietly running the show. Your triggers, your relationship patterns, your blocks, the decisions you make, even the level of success you'll allow yourself to have, all root down to whether your inner child feels safe. That is exactly why we created this end of year challenge as the Return to Magic Challenge. A 15-day manifestation challenge guiding you to reparent your inner child, reconnect with your magic, and step into this new year as your most confident, regulated, magnetic self. This is how you will come home to yourself this season, reconnecting with your authenticity, grounding your nervous system, and truly understanding the patterns that are running the show that need to reparent in order to feel safe with all of the changes happening to us. You can access this challenge inside of our Pathway membership. If you are up for renewals, be sure to check out your renewal email. Or if you are getting the ping to join To Be Magnetic, now is the perfect time because we have our big end of year sale going on where you can get 30% off your entire membership of the Pathway. So that means not only are you going to get this challenge, but you're going to get every single TBM workshop, including how to manifest, inner child shadow, love, money, boundaries, rut, rock bottom, plus our entire library of deep imaginings, our science-backed self-hypnosises that are formulated with EMDR, somatic healing, parts work, and neuroscience tools to help you regulate your nervous system and reprogram your subconscious so you can actually create the life you want. If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or ready for a total reset, this is your moment. This is the portal. Return to your magic. You will walk away with a step-by-step reparenting guide that's actually going to change your reality from the inside out. This is the year you're going to feel more grounded, clear, confident, and back to your magnetic self again. Again, you can join us in the Pathway with our 30% off sale at tobemagnetic.com. Let's begin your journey today. Okay, wait, talk about the home manifestation and the 4 years and the surrender in that. When you first wrote your list for the home, were you hoping it would come through in that first year?
Yeah. Well, because I mean, I still had roommates, and I mean, I was 24 when I got Two Broke Girls, and I mean, literally it was like having $400 as my all of my in my bank account overnight to like I finally had some savings and things, but I still had a roommate for the first 3 seasons of Two Broke Girls until my husband and I, who's now my husband, who's my boyfriend at the time, moved in together. But I really felt like I was ready, quote, in quotes, for that house. But in a lot of ways, I was not authentic in really what I needed out of a home. I feel like I was looking towards what my co-stars had. Like, well, I should have this kind of house in this area because that's what this actress has and this actress has. And I know them and like that's what they're doing or whatever. And so things would fall through. Like the universe really took care of me in the sense of like it didn't happen till it was meant to happen. And the house I ended up manifesting and having, I saw on Zillow multiple times, but didn't come see it for months before because it didn't have the number of bedrooms I wanted. Like it was one under the bedrooms I wanted. But finally, there was some sort of expansion that happened. I remember this weirdly on a hike at Fryman. I saw a for sale sign on something and I looked it up and it said they had a ADU. And I was like, oh, that's a way you can get another bedroom. Like if I want my parents to be able to come visit. Well, oh, so maybe I just need to find a property that also would have the capability someday to build the ADU or whatever. And then I gave this house that I'm in now, like another chance. So, but it didn't, I mean, I was looking in all different neighborhoods. Then after Two Boroughs, I was like, maybe I'll just stay where I'm at and buy a farm in upstate New York. But then it was like, well, then you're never going to go. Like, you're never going to have time. You're like working in LA. So like I had all sorts of jumping all around. But Lacey was really helpful for me during that time with just holding space for me, asking questions about, do you think is this, am I doing this right? Am I trying to manifest this right? But it all worked out. But I think it's about waiting and trusting.
What do you think were some of the things that allowed you to get closer to it? What were some of the things that you had to drop off? Like the bedroom expansion is huge. Detaching from it being so specific to, well, the need is that the core need, the bedroom is not really about the number. It's, I want space for parents to come, for kids, for this, for that. Okay, how could we get the need for that space met? So thinking outside the box, I think on those things. But then what were some of the things that this house authentically gave you that had you gotten what your co-stars had, maybe wouldn't have given you?
I think, and I actually talk about this a lot with my husband too, of like, and I'm sure everyone listening can do it, but when you kind of have fantasy ideas, like I just said this the other day, you'll think this is funny, but I said like, I follow this really cool horse girl who's like a conservationist in Africa, and she like rides horses on safari with like elephants and whatever, and then she like studies them, and I'm like, God, like, I'm just going to go to Africa and like do that. And then my girlfriend was like, they don't have Uber Eats in Africa and you're not going to be okay in that heat, whatever. But I feel like there was a part of me like, maybe I'm going to live in like Topanga and I'm going to commute. I'm going to have this super epic nature property, but I hate like feeling really isolated. Deep down, I hated that, but I thought, but that's what someone else has that makes them really happy. And they love that neighborhood, and maybe I'll find that's where my people are. And then I thought about, oh my God, I'm commuting 5 days a week to the Valley. I can't, like, that's a real, and people do it there. I did have co-stars who were doing it, and so I think that's like something I have a fault of like, not necessarily like wanting something someone else has, but thinking, well, that's a really cool person and I really love them and they have that. Maybe that's what I should do. But then you're not going internally and feeling what's best for you. You're relying on what brings someone else joy to think that that's going to make you happy. And so it was sort of tests and things like that. Even aesthetically, I've always wanted just a very super traditional East Coast looking father of the bride, that kind of thing. But I was like, no, maybe I want like mid-century modern, like architectural but it's like, no, that's actually not what I want at all. But it took me time. And then a lot was out of our budget at that time. And so it's like, okay, what's worth it to like risk and spend over or not? And then we waited. And had we not waited, and it was literally what happens. There's tests and there's things that happen and you wait. and you think, oh my God, I'm going to put an offer in, and then someone puts an offer in and it's gone. You're like, that was supposed to be my house. It wasn't. And actors are really good at this because we have so much rejection of like things of like that part, that part was meant for Ariana Grande and she killed it. That was not meant for me. And you have to, I think, do that with your manifestations a little bit too of like, yep, it's not this apartment or whatever you're trying to manifest, but that's because it's coming. And that's trust too. And that's hard. And that's surrender.
Yeah. I think that's such a good mindset to have with it too, where it's like you can appreciate the house or the role or the thing that someone else got and be like, wow, that was really nice. But I know my thing that's going to nurture me better than that could have ever done is out there for me. It will not miss me.
Yeah. Because it's meant for you.
I love even the details of sharing okay, well, maybe it's supposed to be out in Topanga. I also had Topanga fantasies.
Don't we all?
I was like, it's so stunning out here and remote and like the mountains and the smell, it's like so good. And then I stayed at a friend's place, like did a weekend, let me stay at the place for a weekend. And you're like, oh wow, like these are some like windy roads, like winding in and out is like quite a hike. And I think for some people, authentically, like the windy roads out in nature, having the removal is the medicine. And it did make me realize in that moment, I was like, I need to be way closer to a coffee shop. Like I need to be closer to a food store. Like there's something that feels, maybe it's because I grew up in the suburbs, that there's something that feels very nourishing to be able to like get in your car and like be at a store in a couple of minutes. There's something that feels very laborious about it taking so long to get there, but that's just my authentic makeup. And I wouldn't know that had I not tested out living in the area for the weekend, even though I love staying there. I love booking Airbnbs there, but the day to day wasn't practical for like authentically what I need.
Have you ever out of fear? So my husband and I do talk a lot, and I've talked to Lacey a lot about this, but like there might be a day someday where him and I decide to move out of LA, but the fear, my therapist is like, yeah, but you deep down think that being in nature is best for your soul and your life and your daughter's life moving forward in the future. However, like, are you going to let that fear of isolation, rural, all the like, what if there's a snowstorm and she has to go to the doctor and I can't get out because the snow, stuff that's like, but I'm like, when does it come into like, well, that's just not my authenticity? Or when is it like, no, you don't trust yourself enough and you don't trust your own resilience enough. And I guess those are the big manifestation leaps, right? Like, and I'm just maybe not ready to do that yet. But I do sometimes notice with myself, how much do I do out of safety and how much could I gain in my life if I chose love over fear a little bit more and trusted my resilience. And not this house that I have now that I've manifested, but in the future, if we ever did leave LA, like I have so much fear about that, even if it might be what's best for like my husband and my daughter and my family.
I think you're spot on there. I think it's a mixed bag. So on one hand, you could take the leap before you're ready, but I also feel like it will be so obvious when you need that leap and when you're resourced enough and feeling safe enough to take that leap. So it's so parallel. It's so interesting. Me and my fiance also talk about this. We're like, we can't really imagine like raising kids in LA forever. Yeah, and I always have this cul-de-sac that doesn't have sidewalks, like somewhere with mountains. Like, I don't know where this place exists. I have no idea. But like, I've always had this vision in the back of my head. And I'm like, oh God, I like don't want to leave LA because I love so much about it.
I know.
But there's this vision there. My guess is that at some point, this will not feel as good anymore. And it's kind of like Lacey says, like bridges. They're medicinal until you're at them too long and then it starts to become poison. So I think if you're staying here because you're still in the comfort, you're not stepping through the fear and seeing you're resilient, this will not feel as good. And if it is still feeling good and lighting you up and you're like, yes, 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 I wouldn't be like, well, now I have to move to the country because that was what I was supposed to do. Like, maybe don't take that leap yet until you're getting that full signal from your body of like, Wow. Okay. I've overstayed my welcome in this. I'm ready to go. And that's not to say the fear is going to be gone, but
Right.
it'll be clear.
And that worst case scenario, I've used that a
Yes.
lot for things like that because look, we live in very privileged worst case scenarios compared to many people around the world. So I know that doesn't work all the time. However, for most things, if we can believe through those sort of running that through our nervous system and going like, I will be okay because I have my community. I mean, that's really the main thing, isn't it? Having people that will support you through things. It's like once you just realize the worst case scenario, oh, I didn't get that job or I didn't get that, but I'm okay. I have someone I can call or I have food on the table or I have my dog or and I guess that goes back to gratitude too, but I really like that DI. I've used that a lot for when I feel fear like that.
It is the easiest way to break the fear and to detach from the outcome. Like you want to surrender, process the worst case scenario, you will surrender significantly faster.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So good. Okay. I know people are going to kick me if I don't ask this question
Okay.
because we have so many actors in the community and
Oh,
so
okay.
many artists. What advice would you give someone who feels like they have just been trying and trying and trying and aren't breaking through in the way that they want with their career?
A few things. So it's even easier now because of our iPhones. But what my agent sent that the Two Broke Girls producer saw, because I didn't have tape really at that time of like work that I was like super, that I had been on some great series or something to show them. But my friend and I started writing our own comedy sketches and filming them ourselves. And they told me after the fact, after I'd had the part and stuff, that it was that sketch that we did that they showed Kat Dennings, that they showed that were like, now this girl, like, she has something we think. Like, she's funny. Because I didn't have any like real, I'd done like a couple small little 2 lines on CSI this or whatever, but nothing. And so my first advice would be to make your own content and whatever that looks like authentically for you. For me, it was comedy sketches, and I had a really good friend, and we helped each other. And I have to say, like, after being in this business a long time, and it's changing a lot, it's not the same as it was at the beginning of Two Broke Girls or The Neighborhood. 8 years later, there are a lot of changes, as we know. There were strikes and AI, and there's a lot of overhaul happening. So I don't know what the future for any artist really is in this Hollywood context anymore. But I think it's so important to have something that lights you up in your life. And if that's acting, great, then get together with your friends. I just heard about this great theater company in LA where they do plays in the backyard. But it's like they're really good actors and they put on like Hamlet. And so if acting is what lights you up, act. Put on plays in your backyard, not because you want to get a TV show, but because it brings you so much joy. And I know that's hard when people are struggling and maybe they're waitressing 7 times a week to make ends meet. That's really difficult to do. So I say that not lightly, but I would be my main advice other than make your own opportunities is just find joy in your life aside from the casting director giving you a yes or a no on your audition. Because when I found horses, my whole life changed with this business, truly, in a way that was so magical. And that had nothing to do with acting, but it informs my acting more than anything else in I've ever studied or gone to class or yeah.
Do you think having that, like you could call horses sort of your authentic hobby, authentic passion, right? Do you
Yeah.
think having something that wasn't tied to monetary was just you for you and
Yes.
the joy of it allowed almost like more confidence and ease in when you approached acting?
That's really very true. Like that's I really resonate with that. Yeah, and I think there's also something about horses where you're forced to be in the present moment. They are massive, massive prey animals and they do not respond to inauthenticity. You will not get them to connect with you or to be safe with you if they feel fear if you're fearful and you're trying to pretend like you're not. They can sense a wolf 100 yards away. Like if you're showing up and being like, I'm not scared, and you're like freaking outside, they're gonna know. So I think there's something too, just about, I'm not saying everyone should go like grab a horse, but there is something to that. The hobby I chose was also just forcing me to be so in the present, in my body. But there's other hobbies. There's painting that does that. There's guitar. Find what it is for you. But finding something like that, and I find horses very creative too, even though that's not acting, there is something really creative to me. So I would say, yeah, finding something like that is just super important for your heart. And just in this world, like we were talking about, joy is important. We can't always be striving and manifesting and trying. You have to let yourself find joy in the ordinary day to day in some way as well.
1,000%.
It's hard. It's hard. I know.
Yes. Oh, but it's those little pockets. And I think the permission to play, the permission to
Yes. Ooh, that's
allow
good.
yourself joy,
Permission.
even if you don't have everything buttoned up, even if you're still struggling to figure out how you're going to make money. I mean, one of the worst traps for people when they're at that place where they're trying to make more money is they only focus on how
On
to
the
make more
money.
money. And when
Yeah.
you only focus on that, the stakes of it become higher. And then there's this cycle that is like, you cannot surrender, you cannot relax. And so one thing that can be so helpful is finding another outlet, another hobby, something that does light you up so you can remember, okay, maybe financially I'm not super abundant, but in this hobby, in this experience, I
Yeah.
feel so abundant. I feel so alive. I feel so lit up, and use that energy, then bring it back to when you're thinking about manifesting money. So I think it all gives to each other.
And finding your community and your people. I mean, you guys at TBM do such a beautiful job of fostering community. I think that's so important. And there's so many things that don't cost money. Like I just saw some article about going and listening to your own audiobook to walk along the beach, but you do it with this like big audiobook group, and then everybody has like coffee after. I was like, wow. Like, and you don't have to all listen to the same book, but if you love books, it's kind of like a book club, but it was like a book walking club. I was like, God, that's so, because I just remember when I was paycheck to paycheck, like you don't have money to go like do workout classes sometimes with a community, but there's run clubs, or there's things that you can find with your people. Cause I do think we're always too addicted to the screen, and that's just our society. It is what we are. But when we come back together and you're like face to face with people, that's an escape from the grind and the hustle too, is just being with people face to face, like
Yes.
having real interactions with human beings.
Yes, it's so important. So
Especially
important.
if you're on the grind, if you're on that hamster wheel grind, finding those connections outside of that is so hard. And everybody who's on that grind, like I was you, it can happen. I'm your expander. I was sharing a 1-bedroom. I have $400 in my bank account, like, which is a lot at the time. My rent was like $600. So like I was almost there to my rent, but I don't know. I just always, it's like what you're right. My parents were both teachers. Like I don't come from an acting family at all. And they were both in education, and like they had no idea what Hollywood, but you're right. They really never made me feel like I couldn't live out my dream, which I'm realizing like, thanks mom and dad. Like I was so lucky to have that. And I really hope to do that with my daughter, Emma at George, to like really cultivate that, because you're right. Like that was something I was very lucky to have. So I'm trying to be that person for everyone listening. Like you can have whatever you want. It's out there. It'll find
Yes.
you. Just hold on to those joyful micro moments.
Yes, I love it. And if you didn't get that in childhood, like that's what the reprogramming tools are all about. That is how you give it to yourself now. Listening to stories like Beth's is exactly what's going to make you like, wow, okay, I'm seeing to believe, I'm reprogramming, I'm healing my inner child. And then you'll start to change.
Totally.
Oh, so good. Thank you so much, Beth. Where can everyone find you, connect with you, all of the things?
At Beth Behrs on Instagram and TikTok. I'm not as active on TikTok. I'm trying, but I'm also like that 40-year-old who's like, I mean, I'm trying, but you know, I like to do comedy stuff on there, but mostly Instagram. Yeah. And you can watch The Neighborhood for a couple more months on CBS at 8 o'clock on Monday nights. Then you'll have to find it on the internet somewhere.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jess.
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode with Beth. It was just chef's kiss. She has the best energy, so grounding to talk to, so refreshing, so authentic and heartfelt and heart-led. If you guys are thinking of deep imaginings that you can start to do to connect to your authenticity, of course, I'm going to recommend the Return to Magic Challenge, because we go through brand new DIs for every single phase, including a magnetic family and home, a purpose deep imagining to connect to your purpose in the season of life, and then going through trust and safety, autonomy and boundaries, creativity and play for any of the artists, actors, entertainers, musicians, anyone in the creative field. If you're getting in a creative rut, that creative play DI, chef's kiss, and then the competency and confidence DI, and then in the following week, we're going to have the authentic identity and belonging. So much magic to come. And if you want to just do any of the DIs by themselves, you can check them out in the daily practice library. We have a little playlist with all of them. Okay, we'll see you next week.